First of all, I want to thank you for coming today.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it will be in some way useful. There's no guarantees about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I can guarantee that I will do my best, and I assume you will too, and we see what happens. So, what can you tell me about? How do you spend your days? What do you do with yourself all day?
Not much.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah. Do my morning routines and try to get on with the rest of the day.
Yeah. So, and what do you do when you're trying to get on with the rest of the day? What do you actually do?
Not much. Go to work.
Mm-hmm. Doing what?
I teach.
What are you teaching?
I teach acting to little kids.
I see. Okay. And is this somehow good for you? You good at this job?
Used to be.
Used to be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know when your mother called, she was saying, is what, 6 months or 8 months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
And so difficult, huh?
Mm-hmm.
She was concerned about you?
Yeah.
Yeah. She got good reasons to be concerned about you?
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay, so you go through, you were saying, back up, you go through this morning routine.
Uh-huh.
What do you do? What does that involve?
Waking up and trying to get myself out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Get into the shower.
How do you found a way to do this?
Well, I just kind of push myself around.
Mm-hmm.
Some days I don't want to do it though. Just rather,
of course,
stay in bed.
Of course. You somehow manage to force yourself, or you just stay in bed?
Yeah, I'd have to force myself to do it.
Mm-hmm. And how is it a lot of work to force yourself, or?
Most days, yeah.
Most days.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how long does that take you? You go through this morning routine.
Probably an hour or so.
Mm-hmm. That means you have to get up early?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. About 6.
Yeah. And then you go to work.
Mm-hmm.
What time do you get to go to work?
I get there around 8 o'clock or so.
Mm-hmm. And then how long do you stay at the work? How long do you work each day?
Well, I used to work a full day, and I only work half days now.
Mm-hmm.
So I work till noon or so.
Okay. And you got any good good students?
Yeah, a couple of them. Most of them are aggravating because they're, there because their parents put them there, not because they want to be there.
Right. But you do have some good ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You're lucky. Yeah. I guess, huh?
Mm.
And in the afternoons, then, what do you do with yourself?
Pretty much go home and watch TV.
Okay. And what else then? What else do you do before you go to bed?
Not much. It's about it. I eat. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. So, how do you think your mother, perhaps, or your best friend, perhaps, would know that you're coming here today? Maybe not just today, but you're coming here to see me. It turns out to be in some way useful for you. How would your mother know this?
It's a hard question.
Yeah. They pay me to ask hard questions.
Maybe if I said good morning to her or hi or something like that in the morning.
That would be a surprise to her.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay, and what would she do, do you think? How would she react?
Well, my mom can be pretty over emotional, so maybe she might even cry or go overboard with it.
Somehow overboard. And how would that you react if she does this? She goes overboard somehow. How are you going to react to that?
It's tough to say since it's been a long time that something like that has happened. Maybe I'd tell her to calm down.
Okay. But going overboard would be somehow a happy event for her?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how about your best friend? How would your best friend know that you're coming here is somehow useful for you?
Because I'd probably maybe I'd call her. Haven't talked to her in a long time, so maybe if I called her, she would know things are okay.
That'd be a sign to her that things are somewhat better for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about you? How would you know at some point? Not today necessarily, but 6 weeks from now or 6 months from now, perhaps. How would you know that coming here turned out to be useful for you?
I don't know. Guess if I had looked forward to coming back here, I guess that would be a positive step.
Okay. Okay. At this point, you're not convinced that this could be useful at all?
Nothing's been so far. So, no, I don't see it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but so, but your mother thinks that they'd be useful for you,
Yeah.
and I guess she had some ideas about in what way it might be useful. I don't know. She didn't say anything to me about that. What about you? She talked to you about in what way she thinks it might be useful?
She talked a little bit. I didn't, I don't want to hear about it. She just said, talking to somebody else, somebody with a background might help me more than just trying to talk to her and my friends.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any ideas about how, from her point of view, that she would know it was useful? You're coming here? From her point of view. And what would she tell me if I were to ask her? Any ideas about that?
No. I don't know how. I don't know how she would know that it's useful.
Okay. Okay. So now, what do you think? You were saying that if you were starting to look forward to coming back here,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think it might take? What needs to, just a little bit of something that's going to give you the idea that you maybe should want to come back here. What kind of thing might it take? What needs to happen for you to begin to get that idea, do you think?
Just feeling better about myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you're feeling, well, let's take a question, make the question something like this. On a scale from 0 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
With 10 standing for you're feeling as good about yourself as you can possibly feel given your situation. Huh? And 0 is the opposite of that. Yeah. Where would you say you are between 0 and 10 at this point?
With how I feel about
Mm-hmm.
myself?
Mm-hmm. Right.
0 right now.
0. Okay. And what do you think would tell you that, you're starting to move up towards 10, that, I don't know, 0.5 or maybe 1, some point that would say to you, okay, significant, small but significantly improvement here. What would need to happen, do you think? How would you know?
I don't know, maybe looking myself in the mirror and smiling a little bit.
Okay. Where would that put you on this scale?
It's hard to say without being there, but I guess for that to happen, I'd probably be around a 3 maybe.
That'd be 3. Okay. And so between 0 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think would give you the first hint that it is more likely to happen, that you're going to get into the mirror and smile at yourself at some point?
So what would make me smile, is it?
No, give you the idea that it's more likely.
If I woke up and I didn't feel like I had to force myself to move on with my day, but I actually wanted to move on with my day.
Okay. That, I would guess, would be a pretty big change.
Yeah.
Okay. Where would that be on the scale?
So, to be able to move on with my day, that maybe a 6 if I wanted to move on with my day.
Right. Okay. So on the same kind of scale, where would your best friend say you are?
Right now?
Between 0 and 10. Yeah.
Well, maybe they say I'm at 1.
1. Okay. What do you think would give them the idea that it's 1 and not 0?
No, the friends have always been more hopeful than I've been.
How come, do you think? Do they see something different from what you see?
Yeah, they see that I survived the accident and didn't die, whereas to me, I'm not surviving. Can't do what I used to do, so what's the point?
Right. So they don't know how shitty it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody can.
Yeah. Absolutely. But somehow they get the idea that it's just a little bit, you're feeling a little better than you are.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about your mother? Where would she say you are on the same scale?
Same thing, probably a 1, maybe a 2. It's a same kind of thing. You know, been more hopeful and I don't know.
Okay. Any ideas about what Mother reads at the tip? You know, when she looks at you and say, you know, that she has that you're feeling a little bit better than you are? Any ideas what kind of?
Well,
I don't know. Yeah.
She, I don't know. I think she sees me going to work as a positive step, but I don't think she realizes that it's not something I want to do.
You want to do that?
I'd like to be able to want to do it, but right now it's something I need to do. So I don't know if I'm gonna stay alive, then I gotta, pay bills and whatever. So I need money to do that. So I gotta go to work.
Yeah. And somehow you get yourself to do that.
Yeah.
You get yourself out of bed in the morning somehow. Even though it takes you an hour to go through all these steps. And then you go to work and because you have to in some way.
Yeah.
You want to in some way? Or you just want to?
Right now, I just want to. Mm-hmm. Feeling like I have to right now.
You have to, right.
Yeah.
Any ideas about what would need to happen for you to move from wanting to want to actually wanting to?
Just feeling more positive about myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Feeling more positive about yourself. And when's the most recent time? It may only be minutes, hours, but within the last few months, when you've felt just a little bit better about yourself.
I don't know if I really have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And if I were to ask your mother about when she thinks you maybe felt better about yourself in recent months, any ideas how she might answer that?
Well, at one point I started reading a book.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't finish it, but maybe when she saw me reading the book, she thought, since she made the comment, it's not something I always do, so
okay.
Maybe that's something she saw as a positive.
Mm-hmm. Is this somehow different for you to start reading a book at this point?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because something I used to enjoy doing, and I thought it would maybe lift me up a little more, and just didn't do it for me at that point.
And when was this?
This was about maybe 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What kind of book was it?
It was by Kurt Vonnegut.
Mm-hmm.
Called Slaughterhouse-Five.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And just, yeah, I thought since I liked him before the accident that maybe it would help.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but that somehow it didn't yet.
No.
Okay. You tried other books?
No.
Not yet?
No.
Okay. So how do you do this? What do you, when you come back from work and you sit there and watch television and do whatever else you do, eventually eat dinner and so on. How do you do that? How do you manage to hang in there?
I don't know. I don't know how I do it. I just do it.
Yeah. Because it must be probably at least boring.
Yeah.
I don't know what other what word would be worse? Boring. I'm sure is not the best word for it, but
Well, everything's boring to me right now. I can't walk, I can't run, I can't play soccer like I used to. It's not fun.
yeah. And I imagine from what I know about this situation, it's there are a lot of these things you won't be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how do you do it? How do you manage to hang in there, knowing that sitting in the wheelchair is the fact of life now? How do you hang in there?
I think it's like with waking up and going to work. I just have to.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried a couple times not to, but
Of course.
I have to.
Mm-hmm. How do you do it?
I don't know, some days I think about how it used to be, or,
Mm-hmm.
think about my parents or my brothers and sisters, and I don't know, sometimes that helps.
In what way? I'm trying to imagine this. Yeah. In what way does it help?
Well, I know they, even though I don't like to admit it, I know they love me, and I know they want the best for me, and
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes I just feel like I go on with my day for them,
Okay.
not for myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so you're doing it for them,
Yeah.
for your parents and siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do they know this, or is you keeping it a secret?
I'm keeping it a secret.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Is that hard to do? Is that hard to keep that a secret?
I don't think so. Not really.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they knew, I don't know. It's like my mom, with going overboard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they would be with that.
So, I have a strange and perhaps difficult question. It takes some imagination. But suppose, after we're through here today, you go home, I suppose. From here, you going to go home?
Yeah.
And, you watch television, eat your evening meal, and watch more television.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, you go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You go to sleep. And while you're sleeping, some sort of miracle happens. And you move up to this 10. You're feeling good about yourself, as good as you can possibly feel, given this situation. And it's a miracle.
Yeah.
But this happens while you're sleeping, so you don't know that it's happened to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Once you wake up in the morning, how do you think you would go about discovering that this miracle has happened? problem's gone. You're feeling good. How would you discover that?
Maybe I'd be thinking about, maybe I'd be thinking about what I have to get done during the day and not thinking about the accident.
Okay. And so you're starting off the morning thinking about what you have to get done, or want to get done.
Mm-hmm.
How would that make, rather than thinking about the accident, how would that make your morning different? Would that change the routine somehow?
Maybe, I don't know if it would change anything because I have to shower and brush my teeth and everything, but maybe it'd speed things up.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be moping.
And so if you're not thinking about the accident, and you're thinking about what you want to get done or have to get done that day, might speed it up. How do you think this might, your mother might notice something different at that point?
Well, if I'm I don't know if I'm feeling better. As I said before, I'd probably talk to her maybe a little bit during the morning.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a 10, probably have a conversation with her.
Okay. Any ideas about what you might talk about with her? That first morning after the miracle. Any ideas about that?
We'll probably talk about the miracle and how I'm feeling better.
Because you can't know what's happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it happened when you're sleeping.
Right.
So. Okay, well, so you would have a conversation about that somehow. And then how might this mirror, you're feeling better about yourself, huh? And how would this change things about going to work and at work?
I'd probably want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe...
How would that change things if you want to be there?
I'd care more.
Mm-hmm.
I used to really care about what I was teaching, and I don't care right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's about it. I'd care more.
And how would that show up? How would other people know that you care? How would your students know you care, your colleagues?
I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Probably want to be around them more.
Mm-hmm.
Right now,
Okay. They would notice this somehow? Did you want him to be around them more?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Would that surprise them?
Probably.
Yeah? Okay. Large or small surprise? For them?
Probably large.
Okay. And for you?
For me, it'd be very big.
Goodbye, too. Okay. Okay. So at this point, I'd like to take about 10 minutes to think about what you've been saying, and then meet with my team, and then we'll get. After that, I'll let you know what our thinking is. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, is there anything that comes into your head that might be important for me to know at this point? Anything I forgot to ask about, or you forgot to tell me? Anything at all that comes to your head?
Right now, no.
Okay. So we'll take about 10 minutes to think about it. You can relax, and we'll get back together then.
Okay.
Okay. So, what do I do?
Boy, it's a difficult case.
It really is.
Very difficult case. I just kept thinking, God, young man, oof.
His life has changed so completely.
Yeah, it just absolutely.
Yeah, just sitting there in this chair.
Yeah.
And that's,
I also kept thinking about his.
Is probably the very inadequate word for it.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. And I thought, wow, he. I guess his mother is around him most of the time. You know how
that was the
difficult
impression
this
I
must
got
be for a mother to see his such, you know, a guy who plays soccer and football, and he's sitting here day in, day out. It must be a terrible, terrible situation for mother as well.
Yeah.
Such an active person.
Yeah, he was such an active and such a full of life, and
It's probably harder than he can say in words.
mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why he had trouble with describing things.
Right.
How he would know, it's just too difficult to even imagine,
imagine
feeling better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very moving to me
Really.
to listen to the fact that he makes himself get up. He said, I don't want to. I want to, but I don't want to.
Yeah. And they manages to drag himself out of bed and go through all the ritual that's involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he...
And when he said that he was doing this for his parents,
For his
mother,
for his yes.
I mean,
yes, for his family.
it's very impressive to me that he's able, even now, after all he's been through hell, to be able to think about his mother's feelings and doing this for his mother. Pretty incredible man that he
So
could do
what
that.
do you think I should say?
Well, he sees a glimpse of the wanting to go to work rather than having to go to work.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very hopeful sign that he at least see the glimpse of it. He hasn't quite got there yet.
Right.
You can see that will be a progress for him.
Right.
I thought it was a very good start.
Right. So what should I say?
Well, those are good. Let's start out with how much he's been through in the 6 months. He's been.
And how should I say that?
He's been to hell and back.
Maybe he's not back yet.
Oh, well, he tried to anyway.
He's forcing himself.
Forcing himself to come back from hell.
Okay, so we're impressed. with how he's forcing himself.
Yeah,
He had to get out of bed in the morning.
right. He started reading a book.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't finish the book, but he started, so he is trying different things, trying to force himself to come back.
He shows up at work.
Yeah, shows up at work, even the hardest
He's
one.
impressed with how you're forcing yourself to get up in the morning.
Get up in the morning.
And to go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to what else? How else are we gonna say that? To hang in there, I guess.
Yeah.
They hang in there. The fact that he's willing to want,
Want to.
he's
Right.
choosing to want,
Yeah.
is
Okay.
something
Yeah,
pretty
that's
profound to
glad
me.
Okay, I can say something like, I'm glad to hear that you are wanting to want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wanting to want to
To
feel better? Or can we say something else?
feel better about yourself. He said,
Yeah, okay.
feel better about myself.
Right.
Yeah. And he wants to care more.
Okay, we could also say we're glad to hear that you want to care more.
And want to get to work rather than just showing up for work.
Care more and to want to work.
Right, want to get to work.
Want
And want to talk to his mother more.
work.
These things seem very significant.
Really, yes. Very important. I think they're wanting to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so we also say glad to hear that you want to talk, to have a conversation with your
To have
mother.
a conversation with his mother. Yeah, with,
Yeah.
right,
Okay, conversation
with mother, yeah.
with your mother. Okay.
Yeah. We think that's quite a step, very important step from doing it for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, now let's see how we think
Mm-hmm.
changing from forcing yourself
To do it for them.
Slow down. You know, I don't write very fast. From forcing yourself to do it for them,
Yeah.
it for them, just them, or
Well, yes, he said he does all this for his family.
yeah,
For the
your
family, yeah.
for the family,
Yeah.
to doing it for yourself,
Uh-huh.
or doing it because you
Wanting
want
to do it for yourself, wanting to do it yourself for yourself.
Okay,
It's a significant
so
step.
doing it
Yeah.
because you want to do it. Is a significant step. Yeah.
Okay.
Seems like maybe it's even a bridge to that description that he gave us about when he's feeling better.
Maybe. Yeah.
May not be.
Any ideas
yeah.
about? Make any suggestion you think, or just stop there, and then he should call when he decides whether it's worth coming back or not. Because deciding to come back was his, if he said that'd be a sign to him that if he wanted to come back.
Come back, that would be the big sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice, clear sign.
Right.
So maybe he should just call when he decides he wants to come back?
Yeah.
I just think he deserves enormous credit for persevering as he is.
Yeah, I think I want to talk about that a little bit too. That he should impressed with his hanging in there, and his what else do we want to say about that?
Well, it seems to me that when somebody is in hell, so to speak, when they've gone through something almost unspeakably hard like this, it's very hard to see beyond their own little world. And he already is able to perceive his mother's feelings, wanting to do some things for other people.
Families, yeah.
So it would suggest to me, first of all, that he's a tremendously unselfish, bright, loving person. But it also says to me maybe he's begun to ascend out of that hell just a little bit. He may not be entirely out of there, but he's taken some steps. He's going in that direction, out of there.
Well, should we say it that way, or at least he knows there is a way out of this?
Maybe that's a
Well, he
clear way
doesn't know
to say
that
it.
yet.
He doesn't know that? He said he wants to.
So I was, well, I think what you were saying here was that I can say something like impressed with his hanging in there, and that he sees other people, not only his own personal hell.
Okay.
That he can see other people.
Other people's
Yeah.
hell.
No,
No?
just other people.
Okay.
And how they react to him and so on. That might be enough.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, he's not lost in his own world.
Right.
And a lot of
That's
people would be.
Would be
Oh,
very
absolutely.
preoccupied just with
Yeah.
me.
Oh yeah, then you sit there and you
But he is
And you-
aware.
and you
He's
are
aware
aware
of this.
that you can't do this, you can't do that, and that's all you can be aware of.
Right. Yeah.
And but he's aware of other things and other people.
I was very impressed. He says, I will be thinking about, the miracle is, instead of thinking about accidents,
Right.
I'll be thinking about what needs to get done.
He's very clear.
Very
Yeah.
clear. I
Well,
thought
that's
very,
pretty normal.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, that's normal thing, right?
Yeah.
there. So he's
I
not
know.
asking for anything terribly fancy.
No.
Just pretty normal.
Normal stuff, yes. And yet very significant change that he's aware that he's been thinking about nothing but accident,
Right.
and now he's
course.
away from that.
You have to.
Yeah, of course you have to do
It's
that.
not reasonable to expect after 6 months that
Yeah,
you would think about anything else.
of course.
Why the hell would you bother thinking about anything else?
Right.
You're trapped in this trap. Yeah, you're stuck in this trap.
Yeah.
Of course that's all you're going to think about. So, I want to again thank you for coming today. And I hope it will turn out somehow useful for you. I'm just talking with the team, and we were really impressed at how you're forcing yourself to get up in the morning, to go to work, to hang in there. And that not only are you hanging in there, somehow or another you were able to see other people. You're doing these things. Not only are you're not only trapped in your own personal hell, but you're able to see other people outside of this. That we think that's impressive for your situation at this time. And that now you are saying that you are wanting to want to feel better about yourself. That's, we're glad to hear that. And I'm also glad to hear that you want to care more. Particularly, it seems you want to care more about your work. That is important to you. And now we think that this changing from forcing yourself to do it and doing this for your family, changing from that to wanting to do it for yourself, it's a big step. And it might take time. And it might take a lot of hard work. And, I think you got some things going already that maybe are heading you in the right direction.
Okay.
So what I would like, is that you give me a call when you decide that you want to come back. Just give me a call. I can always work it in somehow.
Okay.
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 So I want to thank you for coming and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
So, I want to thank you for coming today. What can you tell me about what's better since last time we met?
Well, it seemed to be a little bit more motivated since last session.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How did that show up?
Well, I went to the library actually after the last session, and went over to the gym by my house and signed up for some exercises over there.
Okay. And how did you decide that going to the library was somehow good for you?
Well, I know the last session I told you that I enjoyed reading before the accident happened, and I thought maybe I should give that a try again. And I actually started reading another book while I was there.
Okay.
And
what was this book?
it was the same one.
The same one?
Yeah. I picked it up again and started reading it again.
You're able to stick with it so far?
Yeah, I read a couple of chapters there in the library. It felt good to be out of the house, so I didn't take it home with me. I just stayed there.
Oh, okay. So that's different.
Yeah.
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 Okay. And you said the gym? You signed up for something at the gym?
Yeah, I think, again, the last session we talked about me playing soccer, and obviously I can't do that anymore, but
Yeah.
I just thought maybe I should try something athletic. And, lifting weights, I thought might be a good thing, or seeing if they, maybe have some type of wheelchair basketball session or something like that. 'Cause
Okay.
I've seen guys do that.
Yeah, I was seeing it on television.
Yeah.
And so you think that this is something you might be able to be interested in?
Yeah, I mean, it's, not like a silver bullet or anything like that, but I think, I felt a little better just at least getting out of the house
Okay.
and trying something.
Yeah. So how did you decide to do that? You go to the gym. How did you figure out that was the right thing to do for you at that point, or a good thing to do?
I don't think I necessarily thought of it as a good thing to do. I just was driving past after my way home from the library, and you know, the thought just triggered in my mind to maybe stop in there and see.
And so, have you been?
Yeah, I went there a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, well, one of the things that did help is just talking to my girlfriend about it, and she's actually taken me there a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
So she says she thinks I look better when I do some exercising.
Uh-huh. Okay. And so I guess it's important if she thinks you're looking better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what else? Are you feeling better, you're saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I still have to really force myself to get up, because I know there's other things I can do that maybe aren't as redundant as it used to be, but it's still a matter of forcing myself to do all that. But you know, me and my girlfriend finally were able to have some fun a couple nights ago.
Okay, good. That's different.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So on that scale from 0 to 10, where would you say things are for you at this point?
Still at a 2 or 2.5.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Where would your girlfriend say you are?
She might think I'm a 5 now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How come? What does she think that you're not?
Well, we, as I said, we had some fun the other night because we were in bed and kind of got a little more wild than expected and got hit from the bed to the floor.
You?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she was more worried about me than I was.
I can imagine him scare the hell out of her. Yeah. Not you?
No, that was a little bit of a surprise to me, because usually I'm very anxious about getting up and her doing stuff for me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't even concerned about her picking me up and putting me back in bed.
How come, do you think?
It just, I don't know. I think I was just distracted. And so I didn't think about it.
Okay. Distracted in some pleasant way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. And where would your mother say? That scale?
Well, I still think she has a lot more hope than I do, so with me doing more stuff, and I don't know, she probably thinks I'm a 6, maybe a 7.
Okay. So everybody, including you, sees that you're no longer 0.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Okay. And what else would you say is better since the last time we met? As if that's not enough so far.